All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Delta, or Well Done, brought to you by Military Gaming League. In this show, we find movers and shakers in the military and veteran gaming community and highlight their contributions to enriching the lives of those around them. I'm your host, Mike Karnowski, aka Devil, and let's get in some details. Our guest this evening is from Red Platoon Gaming. We have Patrick, aka Power. Power, tell us about yourself.
Well, 33, from San Antonio, Texas. I came from a military family, not Army though, came from Air Force, but I did join the Army in '05 and recently transitioned from active duty to reserves.
There's got to be a little story behind that if you're from an Air Force family and you join the Army.
Well, yeah, um, so some of my family is Army, some of my family's Air Force, but back in 2005 there was a war going on, and I kind of felt like if I'm going to join, I need to join to fight. So I did. I didn't go 11 Bravo. I went 19 Delta. So, but
So for the non-military types that may be watching this, or the non-army types, what the heck does that mean?
so instead of going infantry, I went reconnaissance. There's a big rivalry between infantry, scouts, and tankers. Everybody kind of does the same job, but they do it a little differently or with different people, and it's just a huge rivalry. So anytime I say the word scout, people automatically go, "Oh my god."
But I'm sure vice versa. If you're in the other community and they say the word, and it's like, ooh.
it's you would think it would be like that, but both tankers and infantry hate scouts. But it's all good because we're all on the same side.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's on the same side. You're supporting each other for a common mission. So let's talk a little bit about Red Platoon Gaming and some of the amazing things that y'all have done in the last few years. Tell
Absolutely,
us about
Mike.
the word.
So we started a little, I think, yeah, about a year ago this month we started. Um and initially we just kind of wanted to make a group of like-minded people, especially veterans, bring them together and go compete professionally. I know it's something that myself and Nap, the other owner, always looked forward to doing, and I think the competitive scene for us was just too difficult at our skill level. But we met and knew a lot of people that were very good, and we decided, you know what, let's just unite everybody under one banner, and let's go compete. And I think from there it evolved into, a community, which I am extremely proud of. A lot of successful people in the community, and now we're just networking and continuing to build our teams.
Well, so and you say Red Platoon Gaming got together about a year ago, but from the stuff that I was doing there on the research, y'all have been together longer than that. Y'all have served together. The idea for Red Platoon came around much longer before you became an unofficial unit, so to speak.
Right. So the Red Platoon itself is derived from the color designation of our platoon that myself and Nap served under. So you have your first, second, and third platoon, or you have your red, white, and blue platoon, and we were Red Platoon, and we met, man, probably about a decade ago. And we were part of the same Bradley crew. He was my Bradley commander, and I was the gunner. And then from there, we just developed a really close brother type relationship. And over the years, I think gaming's always been a big thing for us. It was, what got us together, in our downtime, how we stayed connected for a long time instead of just, calling each other and talking. We would just say, hey man, let's get on some Call of Duty, or hey, I heard you were talking shit. Let's do some Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? And that's how we stayed in contact. And we have, I think, yeah, Killbox, one of the other guys, he was my roommate during our third deployment to Iraq, and we've just been very close ever since. And we decided, since we're coming up with a company, we're coming up with a group that we're going to call our family. Why not name it, something that made us, close in the first place? So we called it Red Platoon Gaming.
That's awesome. Yeah, anytime you're shoved together with somebody else in a very teeny tiny little like tin can, you're gonna get really close whether you want to or not. Um,
Absolutely.
where do you see it going in from here? Where do you see the organization evolving in the next 5, 10 years?
Well, one of the big things that's happened in the last few months is we met some really interesting and amazing people. A lot of us are veterans, and that's one of the reasons. That's one of the things that brought us together is the fact that we're all veterans. But in the process of doing that, we met some civilian people that had different skills, whether it was connections with certain celebrities down in California or just specific skills that they could provide. They introduced us to other communities, and since in like the last 2 months, we've already met other very large communities, other big time streamers, and we've connected. And I think that in the next few years, we're going to be doing large community events, kind of like how Military Gaming League does. They
Hmm.
do large events, and I think that that's something that we like to be involved in. So I think one of the big things we're going to be doing is community events and tournaments as well as competing.
Well, we definitely like having you all involved in our tournaments and the other events that we have going on. You always bring so much to the table. If I recall correctly, you all just ran an event not too long ago. You want to tell us a little bit about that event and what came out of it?
So we did a Dead by Daylight event
Hmm.
um, a little while back, and it was like our first big event that we did. We had some people to help promote it, and it was kind of like our shot in the dark. We weren't sure how it was going to turn out. We weren't sure um, how involved people were going to be, but or how the tournament itself was going to play out with just us running it. And despite the fact that we had a lot of issues in the background and behind the scenes, I think people very much enjoyed it, and it really turned us
Hmm.
on to the whole tournament thing.
Oh, that's good stuff. And actually, that's pretty ambitious to do a Dead by Daylight tournament as your first because of the mechanics of it. And it's hard to do a tournament just because of the creation. It's doable, but it's impressive. Y'all were able to pull it off. And it's funny you mentioned that there's the issues behind the scenes, but if everybody enjoyed it, nobody saw those issues.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It's like the asymmetrical warfare type game or the asymmetrical multiplayer. It's new. It's like a new thing, and there
absolutely.
hasn't really been rules or tournaments really worked out for that kind of thing. I think
Hmm.
back in the day, Evolve was a big asymmetrical multiplayer game where there was
It,
just one monster and four hunters, and that kind of it took off for a while, but I think that they just kind of they didn't do
nobody was
anything with it.
ready. Nobody was ready for it yet. I think at
Right.
the time.
We just wanted to bring people together. Like I said before, it helped increase the community and got a lot of people interested in us, and I thought that was great.
What would you say Red Platoon's greatest strength is as an org?
Well, I think as a lot of people that served in the army could probably tell you that it's very it's a very rare thing when you can take total strangers and put them together, and they over a course of a year or 2 years, and they become even a couple months, they become like best of friends. Especially like complete opposites. And that's kind of the thing that happened with Nap and I. We were complete opposites uh, and a lot of things, and being on a crew just brought us together. And I've always thought that that was very special. I've always thought that that was a very unique thing, and I wanted to make a community or a group of people that went through the same thing. Granted, a lot of our people are prior military. We have and some of them we served with before, but to have civilians experience that kind of thing where they come in and all of a sudden everybody acts like brother and sister. You know what I mean? It's very rare to see that. In my opinion, in professional gaming organizations, everybody's just kind of all about business, but we're more about family. We
Mhm.
understand when people go through hardships and we're there for each other, just like you would in the military. So I think that's the biggest thing for us is that we treat everybody, with respect, and we treat them like family. I think that gives us a big edge too. it's definitely a positive experience for most
Abs-
people.
Absolutely. And those are definitely words that the Military Gaming League also try and live by. I mean, we're not just a gaming league, we are
Right.
family. We've got a very tight knit core. Um, and it's amazing what a tight knit core can do for an organization. What are some of the challenges you face in the community? And even growth itself can be a challenge. Growing too big for your britches, man, and you're gonna run into some issues.
I think that's honestly probably our biggest problem is I think that we're very, very ambitious with a lot of things that we want to do. And, we're constantly firing ideas at each other and we say, yeah, man, that sounds really good. How the hell are we gonna do that? And it's like, man, I don't know. And honestly, that's how we meet people, is we talk to some of our friends, some of the community members, some of the other players and streamers, and they say, hey, I know a guy.
Yeah.
It's that the old I know a guy story. And they do in fact know a guy. And we get connected, and that's how we met some of the other communities like Ed Says Hush. It's a large
Hmm.
community of streamers and content creators
Yeah.
that we just kind of fell into, and it was an amazing experience. And he said, "Hey, I would like to take over, help you with your social media stuff." And we were like, "Pff, absolutely, you're hired." You know what I mean? So, so we brought him in, and then from there, we just still been connecting with different people. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, Ed Says Hush, you all, if I remember correctly, you had a bit of a podcast tossed in on your website, um, that y'all were working on, and it was just chit chat basically, and it was great. I listened for the good majority of it, and it just sounded like y'all were having fun,
Yeah,
just a ton of
and
fun doing it.
that's all it is. Especially for Ed Says Hush and Twitch Community 2020 is they're just trying to bring people together. There's no agenda behind it. There's no supporting the product or anything. It's just, hey, let's just talk. Let's hang out. Let's discuss things. If they're controversial, whatever. Let's just get out there, have fun, and talk to each other. And it's working. That community is growing a lot. It's bringing a lot of attention to us too because we get in on it, and it's a really good time. Really good people.
That's awesome. So what is a day in the life for the board members, the folks that are making stuff happen at Red Platoon Gaming? What did your Monday look like, and how does that transition into your week, barring really super annoying messages from random hosts on Military Gaming League shows?
Well,
I digress. Anyway,
no, I mean, like for me personally, I work a regular civilian job, and I have reserves, and I have my family, and I just kind of, for me, I address issues that are getting brought up, or if someone has an idea, I talk in Discord directly with that person, and try to. I think my job specifically is I just try to keep the morale high and keep people together, and address any issues that might have, refining different things. Lately, it's been, our upcoming tournament on the 16th of May for Call of Duty. Just been kind of busy with that lately, getting the right people in the right spot. Casters, hosts, those technical people, and then. And it's good that I do all that stuff during the day because Nap is a nighttime guy. So anything I don't cover, he usually picks up at night and runs with it. The same thing, but
sounds like some
uh,
great teamwork you got there.
I
You
think the go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's great teamwork, and it sounds like you've got a pretty solid handle on your life balance there, balancing the reserves, family, and then this.
Right. I think I think we have a lot of good people, in the right spots within the company. So it's kind of self-sufficient. We have a lot of people that are very invested in the success of Red Platoon Gaming, which I'm extremely grateful for. There's not a lot of people that are here that don't. There's no one here that doesn't want to be here. No one's being held here through contract or anything. Everybody wants to succeed within Red Platoon Gaming, and so everybody works together to make that happen. So it's eh, it's I don't want to say it's minimal work from us, but sometimes there are issues that only Nap and myself or some of the executive staff have to handle, and that's
Mhm.
very rare. So, but it's a very self-sufficient thing. I love it.
What events do you have coming up in the next few months? Obviously, May 16th sounds like that's a big deal. Not a people are jumping on that Warzone bandwagon. Tell us a little about what you got going on, how it's gonna run, and get us hyped.
so so May 16th we have a Call of Duty tournament, and it's a 2v2 cyber attack. We didn't want to be like, these big tournaments that are always doing search and destroy, hardpoint or whatever. We wanted to do some of the new stuff that they introduced into the new Call of Duty. And one of the new things that they introduced was cyber attack. It is like a neutral bomb search and destroy, except you can revive your teammates. And I thought that was an awesome edge. I thought that was an awesome game type. And I said, you know what, let's do 2v2 cyber tech. You know what I mean? And I talked to the community about it. I talked to the other staff and NAP, and they said, you know what, that's awesome. No one else is doing that. Let's do that. And we're running with it. So May 16th, we're conducting the tournament, and the registration's open now on the website. So if anybody is interested and wants to sign up, they can go to the website and do it from there. Um, Other upcoming events,
What's the URL for that website? Is it just the redplatoongaming.com?
correct, correct. And then there should be a link within the website to take you to the React to Contact,
Okay.
which is what we're calling the tournament. Yeah, React to Contact. So, so it's going
Like
to be hosted by RPG Live on Twitch. So our
how much interest are you trying to gather for it to get a
uh,
full what are you going to consider a success for your tournament?
a success would be full bracket. We're prepared to handle that. We're prepared to deal with it. And we're prepared to take the criticism and change whatever we have to change on it, just like with the Dead by Daylight.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a ton of fun. I'll definitely have to check it out. It's also the day before my birthday, so
Wow.
it's always fun to see what kind of games are going on around your birthday. It's just one of those things. Yeah, you can't ever. Not everybody's an old man like me, so that's the Call of Duty tournament coming up in a couple weeks. Anything past that you want to tell us about?
I think we're still working on. Uh, we didn't want to stick to just one or two competitive games.
Hmm.
Um, Mortal Kombat is a big deal to us for several reasons, but I think that we have some really good potential players for Mortal Kombat. I've seen it. I personally am a huge Mortal Kombat fan, and I think after Call of Duty, we're gonna maybe focus on Mortal Kombat and see if we can't run a tournament for that. You know what I mean? And still work off of Call of Duty as the React to Contact series.
Well, you would be old enough to have appreciated the original stand-up
Oh,
Mortal Kombat. So
absolutely.
so the question is, of the original cast of characters in Mortal Kombat, who was your favorite?
And you can't ask me that,
Yes, I
but
can. I just did.
okay, so Smoke out of like the original three games, right? And then they had the Mortal Kombat 9 back in
No, no,
like,
no, no. We're talking about the original. We're talking about the
man,
original
it's got to
three
be it's
games.
Scorpion. It's the correct answer for that question is Scorpion. It's always gonna be Scorpion.
No, it's funny you said that because Sub-Zero was my favorite. So
Wow,
so
wow.
you wanna talk about the anti going on right there. I
Yeah.
threw out more freezing balls than you can possibly shake a freaking spear at.
Well,
So,
one of the big things that kind of really turned Nap and I onto the competitive thing is we were coming back from our last deployment back in 2011, and Mortal Kombat 9 had just come out um, right before the deployment. So I had, they had the MWR there in Kuwait at Beering, and for 2 days straight, and we just kind of rotated. We had a TV, we got an Xbox 360, and we just played Mortal Kombat 9. We just played it, and there were some other people there at the MWR who saw us playing, and they decided they wanted to go ahead and challenge us. And back then, you could have four people on one, four people playing at the same time. It was like a
yeah.
tag team type thing, and we said, okay, so Nap and I, we picked our characters. He picked Scorpion. I picked Smoke because Smoke was my emergency character. I was not about to get embarrassed in front of like 30 people in an
Yeah.
MWR, right? And this guy picked Jax, and the other one picked Sector, and we went at it. We did probably like 4 or 5 matches before it started to get serious, because at the end of like the 4th match, I turned around and there was over 100 people just watching us in the MWR. They were just gathered around, and I was like, okay, shit just got real. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle this. A lot of pressure, and I think that the other guy's unit was getting ready to leave, so they said, hey, here's the end all match right here, and it was down to. Nap got taken out pretty quickly. I was pretty worried, but I did the cheese with Smoke, and I ended up winning, and it was like a huge commotion, and I was like, man, was the highlight of my life. Just kidding, not my life, but it was a big deal. And
Yeah, don't let your wife hear that.
yeah, she's probably in the other room, like, oh, really?
She's gonna watch this
Interesting,
interview later. Like,
interesting. No, but I mean, like, it was. I think at that moment, Nap and I decided that in the future, this is going to be something that we make big, something that we're
yeah.
going to make public, something that we're going to introduce other people to.
Yeah. Fond memories of Mortal Kombat. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I learned that a fatality was actually a thing. You just first time you rip somebody's head and spine out of their body in cheesy pixelated graphics. Oh, it's amazing. Uh,
Yeah, as bad as it sounds, and as graphic as it is, you love it. It's like a thing that you fall in love with.
anything else for the kids back home? Any nuggets of wisdom? Anything else you want to say? You want to say, "Hi, mom, I'm going to Disneyland." Well, I mean, you can't. Uh,
Military Gaming League is amazing. It's definitely a great community. It's definitely brought us a lot of new friends, a lot of interesting people that we can learn off of. Our community. The company interacts very much with the community. We have some pretty solid teams. We have a Rainbow Six team. We have a Call of Duty team, some Apex players who I think are really good that we're developing a team for. And we do community events a lot within Red Platoon Gaming. Not just like company internal, but with the actual community. If people are looking to get noticed, or they want to become a streamer, or something like that, like, the best way to do that is just find communities, talk to people, network yourself. We have a rule in Red Platoon Gaming to settle disputes, and we call it MK law, Mortal Kombat law. You know,
that's so
and
awesome.
it's something that Nap and I do. We have a friend named Fox. Him and I, we do the same thing, and we do it with the community members. If there's an argument, like, who would win in a fight between a bear and a gorilla? One side, one person says gorilla, the other guy says bear. We say, hey, take it to Mortal Kombat. Let's stream it. Let's see who wins. Which Dorito flavor is better, Cool Ranch or nacho cheese?
Oh,
It's
that's
Cool
no
Ranch.
question. It's Cool Ranch.
It's Cool
I mean,
Ranch because I won. That's why. No, but it's fun things like that that we do within Red Platoon Gaming that I'm very fond of. That I think is going to be stuck with a lot of people when they go off and do their own things, because eventually streamers are going to grow, pro players are going to grow, and they're gonna meet new people, and maybe Red Platoon Gaming won't always be the thing for them, but when they do leave, or when they do become very successful, I hope that they think back to their time in RPG, and they say, man, that was some amazing stuff that we did, and well, I hope that they remember us as their roots. That's what I'm trying to say.
I just envision, when you say all those things, I imagine if there was a virtual rec room sitting around in a clubhouse, something straight out of Ready Player One with comfy couches, stand-up video games,
Oh, I love
something
that.
something that you would see in the breakout room from the movie Grandma's Boy, where you're getting challenged to video games during lunch. That's based on what you described. That's how I see Red Platoon Gaming. And tell me if I'm wrong. Like
I mean,
that's the virtual community that you have built.
It is. I think we're all very close. We're all very, you know, we're very invested. Of course, we want to succeed, but we don't want to be cutthroat about it, and we don't want to do it in the wrong way. We want to do it with, you know, with care, with love, you know, as a family. And I think one way to keep people very interested and involved is let them have fun. You know, let them let them get that fun stuff out of the system, because pro players, they compete, they practice, they compete, they practice, and it wears them down. You know, it kind of makes it not fun for them. But if the people in charge, you know, find a way to make it fun, then there's no reason for anybody to get burnt out. And I think that's
Yeah.
their big goal, and that's what we do for our guys. We don't just sit there and say, hey, practice, practice, then go compete. We say, hey, you know what, hey, run some 1v1 on me, you know what I mean? Or let's get down on some Dead by Daylight or Mortal Kombat or what have you. What do you want to do? You know what I mean? And that's how we are. We do that. We're very involved with our people.
All right, Power. So, where can we find the members of Red Platoon Gaming? What do you got for social media? Shout out to the fans for your Twitch handles, your Facebook account, your social security number, credit card statements. Where can we get all that good joyous PII that the fans want to know about so they can come join your fantastic organization? Give
Uh,
us that 411.
all the information we have on our social medias and Twitch is on www.redplatoongaming.com. Um, and there's links to every member of the team, to all our partners on there for Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. It'll be redpltgaming.com.
That's fantastic. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been another production effort by Military Gaming League and this episode of Whiskey Delta, or Well Done. Once again, I am Mike Karnowski, aka Devil, and these were the details. Our guest this evening, Power from Red Platoon Gaming, and thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.